Can you guess like when I wrote my first piece of code?
Grade 12?
I wrote it in third standard. It's not like I suddenly discovered there's a lot of money in it and I went into it. I wanted to make sure I get into computer science. Like there was no compromise on that. So I quit Microsoft. I don't want my employees to get up on Monday morning and say, oh my God, I have to go to this office. I've in fact told people that the moment you feel that, it's better you resign.
Assalamu alaikum, people listening and watching. You're tuning into the Let's Walk podcast. I'm your host, Atta, and today I'm joined by Sharjeel Ahmed, who is a founder at Pazo. So, Assalamu alaikum, Sharjeel. Thank you for being here.
Walaikum assalam. No pleasure, you know, being in this show.
So, Sharjeel, why don't you start off with your initial spark into entrepreneurship, or should I say, were you always the person who was like a coder or was into computer, was a computer geek of any of that sort?
Yeah, kind of. Actually, it's a cliche, but yeah, I was. To just give you an idea, can you guess like when I wrote my first piece of code?
Grade 12?
Okay, you're way off the mark. I wrote it in third standard. So, so in a language called Logo, which you would have never heard of, right?
Is it
So
like base? I don't remember.
it's for
Like
drawing
turtle.
stuff.
Yeah, the turtle one.
Yes, exactly. FD, yes. So in that language, but then there was a quite a bit of a break. Interestingly, I learned it in an Islamic summer camp, and then there was a break. And in seventh standard, I picked it up again with GW Basic, of course, Basic. And then I got really interested. So since then, I've been continuously coding. So yes, it's always been my passion.
So can you tell the people a little bit about your educational qualifications? Like you were into coding, so you picked it up in
Right.
seventh. So were
Yeah.
you already like something was going in your brain that I want to do something where it involves coding, or were you like
Yes.
this is my
Always, always
side
like
hobby?
no, no, not at all. That was always my passion. It's not like I suddenly discovered there's a lot of money in it and I went into it. It was always my passion. I didn't even know that there was a lot of money in it during those times. Uh, I love to solve problems, challenges, and stuff. So that's where I went to it. So because of that, I wanted to make sure I get into engineering and I wanted to make sure I get into computer science. Like there was no compromise on that, irrespective of the college and all that stuff. So though I got into a good college, did my engineering and got campus placed, and then one of the startups during those days, and then since then, things are going well.
So were you part of any of the e-cells like nowadays? I think e-cell has been there since like it's been there since so many years. You know, e-cell, the entrepreneurship cell, each
All right.
college has
All
their
right.
own thing. So were you a part of that, or
No,
did
during
you discover it
no during
after?
those days. No, no. During the early 2000s, and there was no such thing. It just started later. But I was a part of this organization called IEEE, right? IEEE. Though it's electrical and electronics, there was a lot of computer science also in that, right? I was was the president of IEEE organization in my college. So my first stint with entrepreneurship started off when I used to assemble computers and sell it, though it was not programming. So that's how I used to make money. And then I was in a job. I didn't want to do entrepreneurship for the heck of it till some idea, the idea sparked in my brain, and then that's where I started.
Yeah, I saw you worked in Adobe and different other companies. Then you founded
Right.
Tagtual Technologies. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Right. So I was working with Microsoft actually, and then I was watching a conference about this technology called NFC, Near Field Communication, right? And then somehow I thought this technology, if I get into it early and build some stuff on top of it, I may hit on something, right? So I quit Microsoft and started working on NFC technologies. Just like any other entrepreneur, we make random mistakes, we do random stuff, we try to do everything, right? Everybody does that mistake. So I tried a few things, and in that is what is tactile technologies. And in that, there was one particular product which we built where we place NFC tags in a building, and the security guard needs to go to each part of the building and tap his phone, right? And then we actually know the security guard has actually gone there. So for the patrolling of the security guard, we made this app, right? And this actually became a hit. And then we realized we can make it big, and that's where we tried to get funding. And then we launched this company called Pazo.
Yeah. So you you talk about like getting funding and everything. What are some of the challenges you faced, and was it something you obviously like as entrepreneurs you pour everything from your pocket, but then how did you find investors and whatnot?
So luckily, one of my co-founders had a person who invests in startups, right, in Bombay. And when we pitched the idea, he immediately liked it. In fact, we pitched the idea to two people. One was this person, another was a group which does seed funding. And both of them were ready to fund, during those times. And we went with the other one. Honestly, like other people, I didn't face as much challenges in funding as I had expected, and we were lucky in that way.
So how did you name Pazo? Like, what is the reasoning behind that logic?
Mm. Okay, everybody asks that. So it's comes from the Spanish word called paz, right? So it's paz or peaceful operations, right? So that's where the name came come from.
Okay, so uh, I saw your LinkedIn profile, and you say you live by the bullets. Are you the kind of person who is very structured and very uh, team-based as an entrepreneur, or you are the kind of person who is more sort of, like uh, go with the flow kind of thing?
No, I'm a very go with the flow person. But when I tell something, I don't explain into detail, go into lectures and stuff. I just give orders in like one line, two line, that's it. I don't believe in, giving long explanations, lectures, and all that stuff. So that's what it means, like, to the point. Like, I'm a to the point kind of person, not very structured, very go with the flow person.
They say brevity is the soul of it, and I think as an on like as a leader of an organization, it makes more sense that like if you expand on things, you kind of lose the main point, and when you have like clear, concise speech, people actually do get the main point.
Yeah,
So
right.
uh, with being in a leadership position, I'm sure you have gone through the entire process of hiring and then firing, and
Yep.
I
Yep. Yep.
want to know what do you look in people when you hire, and at the same time as a
Mm.
leader, how do you choose people to be like? How do you choose your team members and the specific qualities?
Right. So at least when it comes to tech hiring, right, I don't believe in hiring people with knowledge. I believe in hiring people with logic, analytical analysis, right? So I have in my life I've never asked a question on any programming language, on any syntax. Never. I would have never once asked, right? I don't even ask like what programming language you have worked on. In fact, when I give them problems to solve, I say you choose your language when you're giving me this answer, right? So logic, analytical skills is very important. A person when he gets this right, he can pick up anything, right? Of course, I'll not hire a database person for a programming job. That's not it, right? He should be a programmer. That's important. That's very important. Languages can be learned, and it's not really for a person, right? It's not very difficult. Secondly, passion is very important, especially for startups. I don't want to hire a 9 to 5 person who believes that I have to come. My work is to just sit till a certain point in time and then leave. Right? That's not the point. In fact, we believe and we don't even have timings. We don't have attendance in our office. No timings, no dress code, no sir, ma'am culture. None of that is there in our office. You come anytime, go anytime. Just if you have promised to deliver some work, please do it on time. That is all we ask for. Uh, in fact, you can even read about us in Glassdoor and any other place. We are rated 5 out of 5 stars, one of the few companies to be rated so highly, right? So we believe that work should be fun. People should be passionate about it, and they should be sold about the business, especially in startups. That's very important.
So like not having a schedule, like people coming at this time, people living at this time. Do you think and I'm sure you have a kind of adopted to the work from home
Yep.
during the pandemic and everything, and I'm not sure how you're
Yep.
doing it right now, but then do
No,
you
no, I don't believe in
feel
work from home. I don't believe it at all. It's something which, people hyped it up. In fact, the companies which said, "Oh, we will do work from home," all of them are calling them back. It doesn't work.
So you want people to come to the office but have no timings as to when they come.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And then you want them to deliver on time.
Yes. True.
That
Because the
sounds
office
kind
culture
of
is set
kind
in
of
the
backward,
office.
right?
Office culture is set in the office. See, the problem with work from home, right? There is no free exchange of ideas. Every time I have to tell something, people want to discuss something, calling up, making them, ensuring that they are actually available, making sure they come on the call. And it doesn't work that way. And so many times, most of our ideas are one liners or two liners, right? It just doesn't work that every time I have to get on a call, update and, ask that person, check if that person is available. And it just doesn't work that way. In
Yeah.
fact, people were like, "Oh, work from home and all that stuff." If that was really true, why are most companies calling employees back today? Right? It's just doesn't work.
So besides that, yeah, we talked about like, do you think like that has increased the productivity where, you give people their own, autonomy as to how they can
Yeah.
do the work? Do you think that has increased the productivity and, how people can do the
Yeah,
work
not
more?
how when they can do their work, how how they can do their work is still you cannot make it completely autonomous. They have to follow certain guidelines, rules, architectures, languages, which it does help. See, every day, I'll just give you an example, right? I don't want my employees to get up on Monday morning and say, "Oh my God, I have to go to this office," right? I've in fact told people that the moment you feel that, it's better you resign. This is not the place for you. Right? So you'll not believe this. We had work from home optional after the pandemic ended, and 80% of the office turned up. Right? So that is the kind of culture and we have built. So 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 give them the freedom to not come on peak hour traffic, at 9 and rush and come stressed that I'm late and all that stuff. Just let them come. Let them also take care of any work, personal work, any medical emergencies. Let them take care of all that and come to office. It's fine.
So what are some
Delivery
of the
matters.
challenges? Yep, that's an important point. Like end of the day, if you're not delivering, then what's the point of all the scheduling
Yeah,
and
yeah.
routines and
Because in fact,
ensuring?
I've had employees who come at 9, leave, like come at 10, 10:30, leave at sharp 6, but they have not delivered. That's a wrong way of judging people.
And you also mentioned that you don't even check the resumes and everything. You just check them on their logic, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I don't check their resumes. I don't really care which language they worked on, right? Uh, so yeah, but yeah, I do check if that person is a full stack front end, those kind of stuff. That is important. Or database, those kind of stuff.
So what are some of the challenges you faced, while Pazo or like bringing Pazo to life? It's like 7 years. And what are some of the challenges you faced? And was there a point where you felt like, maybe this is going down?
Yeah, multiple times. It's very common. Because we're techies, right? We are good at building products, but we're not good at selling them. That's our biggest problem. And we had a tough time actually selling the product. So whoever we sold it to, they loved the product, but we could not get more and more customers. Like, how do we do marketing? How do we do sales? How do we reach out? How do we make it scalable? How do we make it repeatable? All these things we didn't know. We used to just randomly, try to get references, get meetings and stuff. Now there is some method to the madness. We know, like, we have GTM strategies, whether we do cold calling, emails, ads, something we are more structured now. But before it was complete chaos, and we just thought, it's not working out.
Yeah. I'm actually taking notes while I'm talking to you. So if there's
Sure,
if
sure,
I'm looking down, it's that.
sure, sure.
So would you say that for anybody who is coming into the startup, like the startup feel, or like is a young entrepreneur, would you say that coding is mandatory to learn?
No, not necessary. But that depends on what role is he, right? You're assuming the entrepreneur is a coder. The entrepreneur can be a great product manager, right? The entrepreneur can be a great salesperson, right? But if you are a tech startup, at least one founder has to be strong in tech. That's important. If you're a non-tech startup, like you're selling something, it's not necessary. But today it's important to have one great tech co-founder, or if you are the solo founder, and if you're building a tech startup, if you think you can outsource initially, don't do that. Like that doesn't work. The people who you outsource it to, they don't have that passion, that clarity what you have. So never think that, okay, I have this great idea, I'll just outsource it and it'll work, right? Because it's a forever process. Building a product is a forever process. It's not gonna just, you know, uh, one use of build it, it's not gonna be overnight success. You'll make a lot of mistakes and stuff. So you have to build it, otherwise you'll end up burning a lot of money initially and you'll end up making a lot of mistakes. And then it's gonna be very difficult.
So do you have any other projects like you mentioned, you get your hands dirty with coding and everything, anything that comes to your mind, you kind of, mess up with the codes and everything. You kind of create it, right? So do you have any other like things that you have been working on and on the side, like as well, like Pazo is your main thing. Do you have anything
No,
related
it's
to?
very difficult because I'm a solo founder. I had co-founders. Right now I'm a solo founder. I just don't have time for anything else. It's very difficult.
So how do you manage it, with everything, like being a founder, people reaching up to you, so delegating and all those kinds of things, like
Yeah,
delegating your
delegation is
time?
very important. So one piece of advice is always hire smart people. Don't hire people and just think that you've hired them and you're paying them money, they'll do their work. If they are not cut for the job, they will not deliver, no matter what you think. Sometimes you get employees for like half the salary or 80% of the salary and stuff, right? But they may not be that good. And you think that uh, just because are there, they will do their job well. No, it doesn't work that way. You would need people, especially the what is known as the founding team has to be strong.
So like, what happens if one of the founding members leaves team?
Are you talking about
Do you
co-founder or?
replace, like generally what happens, like if there's always situations where like if there's a.
Yeah, it creates a chaos, especially in the beginning, but you need to plan for contingencies. You need to put junior people under him who will work under him or her, who will work with that person, so that, there are contingencies, and you need to give, have a good notice period so that somebody else comes in, joins, takes it up, and, continues it. So that's all a part of this thing. But you should not have one single point of failure where that person knows everything and nobody else knows anything else. So then it's going to be a disaster.
So are you currently looking for investors, for any like potential investors in
No,
Pazo
no. So one of the
at the
mistakes
moment?
people make is they take funding even when they don't require it, or they take too much of funding, and instead of building the product, they keep planning when the next round of funding is, because they are always under pressure to exit the previous investors, right? And they're always under pressure to go for next and next round of funding. Unless you require it, it's neither a no or a yes. It's not black and white. If you require it and you really need it, please take it. But there is nothing better than having complete control over your company.
Do you think that the entrepreneurship has kind of changed since you founded Pazo, and how it is today? And with
Yep.
pitching and everything, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is an entrepreneur. Everybody's having their own slide
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
deck and coming in hackathon. So how do you think it has changed?
Yes.
Is it positive, negative?
So previously there were no such so many accelerators, incubators, seed funds. There were not so many resources. There were not so many conferences for entrepreneurs. There were not so many mentors for entrepreneurs. Now there are so many that there's so much. The ecosystem itself is so strong now. Whether you want incubator, you want accelerator, you want a seed fund, there are resources, multiple choices these days. and that makes it pretty easy, right? And of course, everybody thinks everybody company is going to become a unicorn. So there are a lot of people who want to fund early so that they may hit a lottery. So that's definitely there.
So obviously, I didn't hit the question. Ke, uh, it, why don't you tell us a little bit about Pazo and like what it actually does to the people who don't know what Pazo is and what it
Right,
does?
right. We are a very pretty unique company. We call ourselves a operations management platform. Today, there are a lot of people. Everybody talks about digital transformation, right? There are digital transformation in banks. There's digital transformation in retail outlets. There's digital transformation in manufacturing, right? But still, today there is no digital transformation for the frontline worker, the person who's doing the physical job, right? Whether he's working in retail, housekeeping, or facility management, or in manufacturing, he's doing some work, right? So every day there are lots and lots of tasks that need to be done, whether it's a restaurant or a retail chain and all that stuff. Just before the store opens, there is a task called store opening checklist, right? Now, imagine you're a company which have 200, 300, or even 1,000 outlets like some of our customers. How do you ensure all these tasks are being done from the right place at the right time? If suppose there's a task, store opening, you need to do certain set of tasks, right? How do you ensure they are being done at 8 a.m.? How do you ensure they're being done from that store? And how do you ensure that actually being done, right? So we ensure all tasks are being done from the right place at the right time, right? We are a mobile first company. Through our mobile app, we there are a lot of techniques which we use to ensure the tasks are being done, right? And if the task is not being done, or if he marks something, okay, is this clean? If he marks it no, automatically a ticket is raised for somebody to come and fix it. So all your operations are now put in autopilot mode, right? Every day, imagine, like, you can't even run three stores. If you own three stores, it's so difficult to ensure all these stores are running, like if you are the single owner. Now imagine, how do you run 100, 200,000 stores? All these tasks, physical tasks, which are never digitally tracked, right? Now, even the end worker has reached digital transformation. And for us, that is true digital transformation, right? So this is what we do in short.
I like the way I like. Is it like a to-do list where suppose a worker comes, suppose he has to clean this table,
Right,
the table is
right.
clean, so it's like a tick mark. And if
Yep,
the table is not clean, that's an X, so the ticket is raised.
yep. Right. So it's just
So that
not a tick mark, actually. It's just not about tick mark. The question can be, what is the floor temperature? And the person has to enter a number. The moment he enters a number, he has to take a live photo, right, of the temperature sensor, right? So he cannot fib the number also, and he has to take it within that certain time. He cannot do it like, I'll do it in the evening. No, he has to do it at that point in time which he's supposed to do. Take a live photo, do it within that location, and if that number is below or above a certain threshold, a ticket is also raised. So unlike a to-do list which just reminds people what to do, this actually captures data, processes it, raises alerts, and ensures it actually the data entered is right. It's all of these things.
so how did you actually you talked about tactual technologies, but
Mm.
then how did it actually transform into Pazo? Because tactual
Mm.
technology is all about like you take the NFC and it's just like
Yeah,
have I cleaned this place? Yes, you just tap that and it's done.
yeah, it's
How did
done, right?
you
So that's how we started. That was what our basic thing is, people tapping. Okay. Then they told us tapping is not enough. If he sees some problem, let him type what he sees, right? Like taking notes. Then we sold the same thing to none other than Future Group, which is a big retailer. They said, I just don't want him to type. I want him to collect data every day, which he collects on pen and paper, right? And then I want to ensure. So instead of tapping, because NFC phones are not common, we replace the tapping with QR codes, right? But we also authenticate with live pictures and all that stuff. So then it built, and then it became a big product.
so as you're approaching time, we have a few questions which are called the perspective questions to bring in some more
Okay.
perspective into our lives. So
Hmm.
if you were to have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Dead or alive? This is interesting. Uh, Not sure. Maybe Bill Gates would be because he was always my, that's I was like when I was very young. When I was not even in school, I said I want to work for Microsoft. It was of Bill Gates. I used to read his stories and stuff. So I would want to maybe have dinner with him. Uh, Maybe Shah Rukh Khan also. Not just because he's a great actor. He's a great entrepreneur actually. Nobody talks about that part of it, right? And he's a very passionate person, and it's very important. And he has empathy. Yeah, that's the other person. Now I need to think of a third person. I can't. Nobody's coming to my mind immediately.
And
But
so that'll be Bill Gates and Shah Rukh Khan.
yeah,
Shah Rukh Khan is, I feel, the artist, he said something the other day, I was watching one of his interviews and he said,
he's
uh,
knowledgeable. He's knowledgeable.
yeah, and he said something along the lines that the art is not important, the art is. The moment the artist actually gets a feeling about his art and gets an attachment, that's where he loses himself because
Mhm.
he gets an infatuation about the art and forgets about creating the art. And that's what happens when, like, we get attached to our own ideas and we think, it's going to change the world instead of actually, like putting it out in the world and, the world. That makes sense, from like a tech point of view, if you see it,
Right.
you get that. So, if you were to go 5, 10 years back in time, what would you say to the younger Sharjeel?
That don't try to do too many things at once, right? Uh, Focus. What people entrepreneurs do is they try to do too many things. You don't have to do too many things. You have to focus on what you're doing and make it stronger rather than like instead of building 10 things, build one thing. Focus, build it in completely focused way and don't get carried on by, glittery stuff. And only having a great product is not enough. It has to be backed by great marketing, great sales. You cannot just build a great product and expect people to come in. It's unlike unless you are a Facebook or something. That rarely happens. You need to focus on other stuff also.
Um, Besides that, like besides these questions, have you thought about something so that the user retention is more higher on your Pazo app or something like that? Just like Facebook wants people to like more people to use Facebook, right? Similarly with Instagram. So is that something you thought about?
Yes, we do. One of the things which people even love about us is also a UX. A UX should be so easy to use that even a person who's not tech savvy, and most probably most of our users are not tech savvy, should be able to use it. They should not feel it painful. They were doing whatever they were doing on a pen and paper, right? It should feel as easy as that on the mobile phone. In fact, much easier, right? So that makes people use the software. To give you an idea, uh, uh, 150,000 checklists are submitted from Pazo every week, which is about 1 million every 5 weeks, right? So our usage, I wish I could show you a usage graph. Our usage graph keeps going up every week on week basis, right? So we are waiting for the day when we'll hit 1 million checklists every week. Imagine every checklist has minimum of 10 to 20 questions, and at least if they have even 20 photos, right? There are like 20 million photos being submitted by Pazo. So that is how much people use it. So, so it's very important that the UX should be really, really good for people to use a B2B app because they are not getting any thrill out of their work, right? They are not getting excited. Oh, it's not like Instagram where they're getting likes and comments. It's work related. If they find little hesitancy in using it, they will stop using it. They will complain, say we don't want to use this. So it's very important. The UI UX usability is very, very easy.
So, Sharjeel, do you read any books? And if so, like,
No,
would you
actually,
recommend
I
any books?
don't. Unfortunately, I was an avid book reader. I completely stopped. But recently, two books in my mind is Atomic Habits and Deep Work. These two books, I'm sure you've heard of them. Again, cliche. Deep Work and Atomic Habits are the ones which I read recently.
So, last question, Sharjeel, what do you want to be remembered for?
Remembered for changing the lives of people, mainly, right? When I say people, right now I'm talking about them, people who work for me, right? I don't believe in, okay, I'm the founder, I should get all the wealth if it's successful, right? I believe in distribution of wealth. I would love to change more and more people's lives, by giving them opportunities. That's it. Nothing.
So, where is the best place people can find yourself and Pazo as well?
As in, LinkedIn.
Perfect. So, guys and girls, ladies and
LinkedIn.
gentlemen,
I'm on LinkedIn. That's no
yeah,
longer on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah.
perfect. So, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this will be it for the Let's Walk podcast. I hope you guys took something out of it. And if you did, let us know in the comments. Other than that, you guys know what to do. Stay blessed, keep taking action. We will catch you in the next one.